I'm sorry about that.
We're starting off hot. What's up, guys? Welcome to the 2018 WBL season preview. So today, myself, Jonathan, Ryan, and Dan are going to be talking about some of our preseason expectations and awards and other discussions regarding this upcoming season. And for that, we're going to start with some controversies, or at least some discussions that have been going around in the league. And the first one was brought up by Dan Roach, who could not be with us today. And that is the idea that the captain should be the starting pitcher for their game when they play. So if I'm playing Dan, we should both have to be the starting pitchers for that game. And then same thing, if John's playing Ryan, these two would have to start their games. I, for one, feel very strongly about this. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's a great idea. I like the idea of the captains having to start their game because so many times, and this hasn't happened so much with Mike because, I mean, he just sucks, but somebody like Marcus gets like a really good regular season record. It's happened before, and he's a terrible pitcher. So it's like his team is winning him these games, and he's not really having much credit going to him. I think when you put the captain as a starting pitcher, I think the record that he finishes with will reflect a lot more accurately if he's forced to start his games. Because if he sucks pitching, that'll hurt his record. But if he's really good pitching, that'll increase his record. Whereas Marcus could just draft other pitchers like Zach and Dan and have them start, and then he could get away with having them carry him to like a 4-0 record or something like that.
So the only thing is, the starter only has to throw one inning.
Right.
So like,
but one inning can still make an impact.
It could, and obviously there's going to be people like Zach who would hate that rule change because
of the closing thing.
Zach values himself closing way more than starting. But I could see where you're coming from. That definitely would. It would definitely see people's records. The standings would reflect overall talent and skill level more accurately. But is that what you really want to see? Do you really want to see like me and Zach at the top every year because we're pitching? We have to pitch ourselves the most.
I would rather see the talent get the record that they deserve versus somebody being carried to a good record one year because of the hitting streaks of this team.
And that's where I will agree with you on the part where, if we do implement this rule, then there will be more game management because you'll have to start yourself, but then a guy like Zach will have to after him he's gonna have to wing it. He's gonna have to figure it out. I think for most people this wouldn't be a problem. I think if I had to guess, if I'm a betting man, I think this rule will pass. But
I don't think it will.
You don't think it will?
I think maybe me and one or two other people will actually in turn vote at me because there's a lot of people still on the fence. I know I talked to Dan yesterday. He's still on the fence.
I have a thought on it too. Just like in terms of the rule itself, and if we want to just incorporate any sort of element of that rule, maybe not the full-blown has to start, but say that rule doesn't pass, right? But we still want to try to do something different. Maybe the captain has to pitch at least one inning. It doesn't have to be, the start of the game, but say whoever it is, Zach, Mike, Alec, Jonathan, me, whoever, they have to be on the mound for at least one inning, no matter what, unless there's like a no-hitter or like perfect game.
Yeah,
that would if we
that's
don't
exactly what we talked about.
If we don't do that, that's a good midway. That's a good.
That's a nice middle
halfway.
Ground.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So we'll see how that goes. Do you have a thought on this at all?
Yeah, I was just actually thinking about it because originally I hated the idea, but I liked your explanation that you said earlier about 5 minutes ago. But I was thinking what Dan said, which was that if you're the captain, you have to pitch at least one inning. I do like that, but is it one inning or is it one out? Because really, you only need to get
inning.
one out.
Inning.
Because right now, we could play a game where you only need one out. And then someone could come in and pitch the rest of the game. Hypothetically, the ways the rules are laid out right now.
Yeah.
This rule would definitely eliminate that. I mean, they'd have to pitch a full inning if they're the captain.
You could almost go far. I would even go as far to say I'd be okay if we wanted to make it 1.5 innings, just so it's kind of like half the game
I don't.
I don't know if the
think
one
that's
out's really going to
stretching
make that much of a difference, but I mean, it's.
Well, it could in games where.
Well,
it's
that's what I'm
3
saying.
outs.
I'm this whole movement that Dan Roach brought up. I think is just on accountability, and I think that is a big thing for me. I want more accountability, more responsibility for captains. in their
Also,
teams.
that the problem with that is if you make the captain start, what about the times where there's a fill-in? Like if Marcus and Zach aren't there for a tournament, do they get to pick the replacement so that they get to pick the best pitcher to pitch for them? Or
I think they would have to be
How
stuck
would
with
you
the
address-
replacement.
what do you mean replacement?
Well, I think
Like how do you?
so you're saying, for example, if Zach missed a tournament and we had to get like I don't know, for
we had to
example,
pick one of us.
special guest Hank comes in to pitch.
No, what I'm saying is if we're trying to figure out who's filling in for Zach that day, whether it be a sub or whether it be just somebody who's there, how are we going to determine that? If there is a specific rule in place that says the captain has
Right.
to pitch.
So if somebody from the outside of the league gets approval to play in, I think it has to be that person.
Okay.
That's the first thing foremost. I mean, you're going to miss a tournament, then you're going to have to deal with this other person coming in, whether they end up being good or not.
yeah.
I'm not really sure how you'd handle it as far as other captains in the league. I know that's a problem, but I'm hoping that we don't have to deal with too many, people missing.
Well, if it's last year, that'll come up.
Yeah, that is something that will have to be considered when we vote on this.
It could just be a randomized thing if we can't.
We
Saying
could just-
a random number generator.
Random
A random bracket generator.
I have another
Might be.
question that I'd like to raise. So,
Yeah.
if we do implement that the starter has to pitch an inning or maybe even an inning and a half, as some people said, that would we'd have to implement a rule that this starter could also not come out if they hit 2 people. Correct? Because the rule is right now if you hit 2 people, you're out. So,
Right, that would change the current rule. I think that's something that would be changed.
It's just sort of a wave.
You could just
Yeah.
you just have to keep.
No, are we
pitching.
talking about this in terms of the captain or just the starter in general?
We're talking about the captain.
the captain that
has
would
to-
be starting
If you have to pitch an
or
inning,
be pitching.
Yeah.
if you hit 2 people, you still have to.
The captain
Yeah.
that has to pitch cannot be
That would
yanked.
definitely be a
Cannot just
requirement.
cannot
You
just
can't
hit Zach and Ryan and then
Mike
get
can't
yanked
just
himself.
peg 2 people to get out of the inning.
Yes.
Like that's
Exactly.
not happening.
That's the whole thing. I'm trying to eliminate shortcuts, and
Yeah, this
That kind of
rule
thing.
supersedes the minor ones that follow for a pitcher because that guy has to pitch that inning no matter what. There's no
Exactly.
weaseling out of it.
All right. So I think that handles that.
Well, I just have
discussion.
one
Oh,
last
you have
thing.
one more?
I
Go ahead,
feel
go ahead.
if we do implement that they don't have to start and that they have to pitch an inning, I do get worried that if someone is the home team, like let's say Lil Mike is the home team
Okay.
and he
Okay.
starts Zach, and Lil Mike is wins or no is the away team. So if you're the away team and you lose, and you say, "Oh, well, I was going to pitch the 3rd inning."
Well, that's if you're the home team and you're winning.
No, the home team you would be able to pitch.
Oh, okay.
If Mike was the away team, okay, and even though his team loses,
Yeah.
but he says, "Well, I started Zach the first 2 innings. I was going to pitch the 3rd."
Well, see, the thing with that is he loses anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Does it make a difference?
I don't think that makes a difference because you can't say that his impact could have really changed the game when he lost anyway.
Mhm.
So if Mike chooses to wait to pitch himself till the 3rd inning, he can't really say, "Oh, I could have won that game if I had pitched," because he literally could have just pitched himself in the first 2 innings. Whereas, if he wants that best chance to win, and he puts Zach in to pitch those 2 innings, he still loses anyway. I mean, it's your own fault.
That is a valid point.
it's a good point, but I think that it's still debunked, just based off you have 2 innings to play with.
Yeah.
So if you wait till the end, it's your fault and you lose.
I
Anyway,
would probably trend on the side where if we do have a rule that says the captain has to pitch an inning, then they have to pitch an inning no matter what.
Yeah.
Like if you're going into the bottom of the
Maybe
second.
we can make it so that they have to pitch at least in the 1st or 2nd inning, so that this doesn't happen.
No, you don't need to be specific like that. But if you're going into the bottom of the second, if you're the away team,
yes.
and you're going to the bottom of the second and you're losing, and you're the captain, and you didn't pitch yourself the 1st inning, I think it would be fair to force to have, if that rule is in place, that they have to come in and pitch the 2nd inning.
Yeah.
I think, and then if they make it to the 3rd inning, if they make a comeback in the top of the 3rd, then you can either keep yourself in for the bottom of the 3rd or go to your other guy.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that covers that for the most part. Does anybody have any other things like this that we're going to be voting on, tomorrow, or any other thoughts?
As far as ballparks go,
Yes, and I also we can do that first. I also have my cape rule that I have.
Oh yeah,
wanting to-
Ryan and I were just talking about this, the Cape
shit.
rule. So
Okay.
this is your thing. I know
Yeah.
you can voice your opinion.
So Zach Lacey, when we play that on the Cape, he has some Cape Cod players that play in the Cape Cod League that live at his house. So obviously these guys are pretty good. They're probably better than anyone in our league at wiffle ball. Even though
some of them are.
it's a little bit different than baseball, so it's not like they're head and shoulders above us. But the thing is that if a captain, if one of them wants to play, I believe that they need to say that they're playing either A, before the game starts, or B, if they decide to play during the game. Whichever team they go on, the opposing team's captain picks the player
That's rude.
that
Hate to see that.
is
You
going
really
to be
hate to see
taken
that.
out. Because what happened to me last summer is that I was playing against, it was against Mike, and Mike is by far the worst player in our league. And we started the game, and then Mike was in the Cool Zone, the State Farm Cool Zone, presented by Progressive, sponsored by Amica.
Yeah.
And the kid came out and he said, "Oh, I want to play." And Mike immediately said, "Oh, you can just take my spot." And then, so this is a clear advantage that this team had.
And that's
You don't
that's
say.
what I'm saying about the accountability.
And I
Mike
think the
got
kid
away
went
with it.
yard, too.
Yeah, and he went yard, and I lost by 1.
Yeah,
No,
that's
I
what.
think you lost by 2.
I promise.
Whatever.
you
The
I
point
lost
is,
by
he
1.
lost because Mike.
I promise you. I can assure you.
But that was just, it was unfair,
Well, yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about with the accountability. Like, Mike needs to have more input on his own game instead of just letting Cape League
Or
players
you
take over.
just come out.
The way I know I said this earlier to you, I don't like the idea of the Cape players playing at all.
Yeah.
If we go to the Cape, I don't want them in any of the games.
Yeah.
If they want to play, we just turn an exhibition. We either wait
Yeah.
or we just let them
Put
play.
the tournament on pause, or just
I'm trying
tell
to
them no.
trying to get rid of controversies and
The league does not have the
let me
funds.
tell you,
I'm
if
putting
you-
down my hand this season, or
if
my
you,
foot.
If you were to raise an amendment that no Cape Cod League players can play in the WBL tournament, you got a yes vote from me.
And that'll be a vote that takes place tomorrow. Anybody else got an opinion before we move on from here?
I would second that. I don't think we need it.
I think
that's
that's a vote that'll pass.
Yeah. I mean, it won't be unanimous, probably.
No, Zach will
Zach
definitely not
will-
vote.
So I can be like,
Mike-
well, you guys
Mike
are
will definitely not vote for it.
Yeah. But no, it's definitely something that needs to happen.
Yep.
We have our substitutes guys that we're comfortable with coming in and playing,
Guys that are equal skilled to
Yeah.
us.
Yes.
and
Okay, so-
those guys just represent people that are not fair.
Anything else?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate, I'm good with just putting the tournament on hold if that happens and just exhibition.
All right. So yeah, any other topics?
Ballparks.
Ballparks.
Okay.
If we are going to play at a ballpark, like a brand new ballpark, or a ballpark that we don't play at very often,
Marsh Vegas.
Marsh
Marsh
Vegas.
Vegas,
Polo grounds.
or any place that's not Lacey Grounds or Cape Lacey, we need to hammer the ground rules immediately.
Yeah.
Someone
Like,
sounds triggered.
the ground rules need to be hammered, no questions asked. We cannot have controversies
Ryan,
about
Well, so
You-
just
things
wait, did we want-
popping up.
Ryan, you want to
Mid-game.
give the viewers a backstory to what
Or do you want me to
happened?
do it? I don't think he wants to
Okay,
talk.
I don't
okay,
wanna talk
okay. Go
about
ahead.
So-
Nick.
Last
I really
year,
don't
if
talk
you
about
if you
it.
guys watched the season preview last year, Ryan was quoted as saying that the person that lets up the infamous home run to Mike will never sleep at night anymore. And there were a lot of other comments made about like how he hopes Mike hoped that Jonathan would be the one to let it up. Well, we talk about ballparks, we talk about Marsh Vegas. Marsh Vegas is where Mike's infamous home run happened. Of course, I wasn't there, so check out my documentary coming out to be determined,
Yes.
where I will investigate this home run. Sports science will be involved. Point is that Mike's home run happened in Marsh Vegas. A lot of these guys witnessed it. It was very questionable. Some of the guys didn't think it was home run. Some of the guys did. Our profile picture on our league Twitter page is Ryan's face after the home run. So there's a lot going around about this home run. So the point when we're trying to make about the ballpark is we have to put ground rules so that that home run that Mike hit can be thoroughly established as home run or not. And there isn't a question mark as Ryan twitches here, thinking about the nightmares he's had over the past
Clearly has
year
still
about it.
PTSD
Yes,
from that incident.
clearly. So this is why Ryan feels very strongly about putting down the ground rules about the ballparks, which is, it's true. I mean, even taking out the home run aside, it's still very important that we establish the ground rules for these ballparks. If we do go anywhere else, maybe another ballpark just poofs into existence that we play at. God bless you.
Oh, thank you.
Bless
And
you.
that's it.
Yeah. I mean, just ground rules. Ground rules would be great, guys. Can we vote on ground rules? Pass Amendment 9.1. Ground rules.
What are the first 8 amendments, to be honest? Okay, so we got ballparks, we got the captains, we got Cape stuff. Anything else before we move on to awards?
Just, I know we're going to probably address it tomorrow, but I know this is a big issue for you, Nick, and for Zach as well. Just determining what is a double and a single. In the
Yep,
rules.
that's right.
And
That'll be a big vote tomorrow.
Yeah,
So
explain this.
at Lacey Grounds, the left side in fair territory is covered in woods, which is, unplayable. You cannot field in there. If you do, you're an idiot.
Basically, on the left side of the field, past third base, there's barely an infield on the left side. There's maybe a shortstop area. Third base is basically playing the bag, if not in. But the outfield from left to center is all woods. So right-handers are at a severe disadvantage because if they pull a ball down the line, we've had this gray area where we don't know whether we're judging the ball on where it lands or on how hard it was hit, or et cetera, et cetera.
Right. So the vote tomorrow will be to determine how we will determine and judge the balls that are hit into the woods. Because in the past we've been judging them based on distance or velocity, and it changes, depending on the situations of the game, and people change their opinions to try and help themselves because everyone's just trying to win in this league. So, me personally, if we want to make this roundtable, I was telling Dan the other day, aka yesterday, that I'm a big supporter of velocity. I think, and Dan came up with a good idea, as I mentioned to you, probably also yesterday. We need to have, or what would be a good idea to have, is some sort of line, maybe some tape on a tree or something.
Yeah, like an indicator.
Right. So if we have a line drive that's hit into the woods, it's easier to determine, if it's below the line, it's a single. If it's above the line, it's a double. I don't think triples are ever going to happen. I think that's ridiculous
There
to
would
have.
be no triple. It
Right.
would be either single, double, and if it were hit far enough, then you'd consider home run.
Right. But I think distance just makes no sense because there's so many trees, branches in there that the ball can get knocked around and
I don't
end up
think a
short.
home run could be hit through the woods.
Right,
If we're
yeah.
being honest.
No.
And many a times, if a ball does actually get hit through the woods, it does actually come out in the very backhand corner.
Yeah, it'll
Mhm.
trickle down back
Yep.
into play, which is weird, but
So-
it happens.
Yes.
Yeah, so that'll be a big vote tomorrow. I think that might be one of the most important votes, probably second to the...
Honestly, it should be unanimous. It won't be, but it should be. It's
I think...
Yeah.
I mean...
It's just a matter of finding the right spot,
Yeah. It won't be so much distance or exit velocity. I think it'll be exit velocity pretty unanimous. It's just going to be finding that indicator,
Right.
that marking spot.
Yeah, so I don't think it'll be much as a vote. I think it'll just be a conversation. We just need to come to a majority agreement on what that line will be, and how we go about doing that. All right, so that pretty much handles all the topics that sparked off-season discussion.
Yeah.
So why don't we get to awards? So,
Sure. So first off is home run champion. Who you guys got for home run champion? Let's start with Jonathan.
Okay, do we have the stats from last year up?
yes, I actually have them in my head.
Okay, who won last year?
Last year, Zach won with 36 home runs. Ryan was the runner-up with 34. And I came in third with 29. You came in fourth with 25. I believe Dan Sadik was next at 15. Alec is at 14.
Somebody had 11.
Marcus had 11, I think.
Marcus had
Marcus,
11.
no.
Dan Rose probably had 11.
Dan Roach had 11. Marcus had 4, and Mike had 1.
Interesting.
Yeah, Marcus.
Tigres had 1, right?
Well, we're not worried about substitutes.
I'm just
I'm just
No, not
saying.
Tigres.
We'll cut that part.
Just saying.
We'll
T.
cut that
Sully.
part. It's T. Sully. Who's
Oh.
T. Grizz?
Dude, T. Grizz was
I'm
in
sorry.
he was
Rapper?
in my grade.
Yeah. I don't know why I just got the
He's
two mixed up.
never
That's
played in the
hilarious.
WBL before.
Oh, well, no
That's
shit.
an
okay.
investigation
We're
on
gonna go away
TV.
from this.
That's irrelevant. My pick for home run champion this year is Ryan.
Oh, wow.
As we
Give
said
myself a
earlier,
double.
Lacey Grounds, very lefty friendly.
You said this exact same thing last
He
year.
did. Go back and watch
Literally
last
the
year's
exact
video.
same thing last year.
Zach does hit a lot of home runs to center. Zach did. People forget this. Zach did hit the farthest home run in WBL history last year. I forget who it was off. It wasn't off me. I just know that.
Probably Mike.
I thought it might have been Alec actually.
Ooh,
but-
yeah, that's
It
true.
was probably me.
Um,
But
but yeah, with Lacey Grounds being so lefty friendly, yeah, Zach won it last year, but Ryan, I just like Ryan this year. If he can make all the tournaments, I know he missed a few last year.
I think I missed 2 last year.
yes. So
The Munchkin Classics.
if he can miss, yes, if he can make all the tournaments this year, I see no reason. As long as we don't play too many tournaments down at Marsh Vegas Field, because then the tables are turned. Because that is a very, very righty friendly park, as you'll see when the documentary on Little Mike's home runs come out. It's borderline controversial what a home run is for a right-hander.
It's like Polo Grounds, except right field is normal,
yes.
which is like.
I gotta get
retarded.
myself to Marsh Vegas.
So-
Gotta check this out.
I
Gotta
go
get-
with
gotta get
Ryan.
to work.
I go with Ryan this year. Hopefully, I am right.
Hopefully.
I am also.
Okay, let's go.
Yep.
Thank you. I'm also going with Ryan. I think the lefty ballpark is a big proponent in that. Normally I'd pick myself here, but this year I'm focusing less on power and more. Bless you.
Thank you.
See, he knows that's bullshit.
No, I'm serious, and you'll see it. I'm focusing more on making contact, striking out less, and getting myself on base. And instead of just trying to hit home runs and swinging at pitches over my head and swinging at, outside stuff. So that's why I think I'm going to go with Ryan.
So hold on, before
Yeah.
you go. So your explanation for me winning the home run title
Is that I'm not gunning
you're-
for it.
You're just gunning for championships. Don't mean
Yep.
a thing without a ring.
You're
am I
also
right?
just
I-
low-key trying to jinx Ryan.
I respect the revamped approach, but it's not gonna work. But thanks for that's a pretty reasonable explanation for it. Go ahead, Dan.
Thank you. I'm gonna go with Zach, not just because he's always the home run king. I just think no matter what, when we play down at the Cape, I feel like even if Ryan is on his tail or it's close and neck, I think the Cape tournament is the time when Zach can make up for that and get a ton of dingers. And then besides that, if we play enough tournaments, there's gonna be a lot of dingers, and I see Zach at one point just pulling away. I'm sorry, Ryan.
No, it's happened before.
I'm sorry.
It's definitely happen again.
I'm sorry.
My pick is also going to be Zach because I'm not going to pick myself because that would be disrespectful.
Humble.
Yep, stay humble. I think it's been either me or Zach winning the home run champion title every year in league history. So I don't see anyone stepping up to knock us down off our crown. I don't see anyone joining our club. So I'm gonna go with Zach.
I have one last question. Does anyone think that there will be a record WBL home runs this year? We know the record is very high.
Okay, that is so up for questioning.
This could be our
I
second documentary.
still,
This could be
yes,
our
there's going to be a part 2 documentary on the season where 2 people hit over 100 home runs because apparently we play wiffle ball like all the time. No freaking way.
Now remember,
All right.
we played wiffle ball a lot last summer, and the home run champion was 36.
36 investigation
And
will
we're-
be coming
and we're a
when
lot
we get
older.
funds. Hit up our GoFundMe, also to be announced. All right, moving on.
No, we have to address that. You brought it up. Now we're going down that dark rabbit hole. Zach beat me that year with home runs 155 to 152. Nobody else had more than 42. It was a really poor year. It was just no competition, and me and Zach were just hitting home runs left and right off of people. They don't want to admit it. That's why, there's huge asterisk marks all over
Wait, so
it.
what was the number? 100 and what? And what?
155, 152. The next closest person was like in the 40s.
And who was that?
I don't know. Who cares? You weren't even close.
Because
You're irrelevant.
who hit 42 home runs?
Probably you.
I have a question.
I don't think so.
I have a question for Ryan.
Because that was the
though.
first year that you hit 30 home runs that you came off to a hot start, because you've done it before. You've done it like 2 years in a row now, where you hit 30 home runs. You were atop the home run title leaderboard, and then you absolutely fizzled the fuck out. Just absolutely tanked.
I have a
Just
question.
power just disappeared.
I have a question for Ryan.
Sure.
So these home runs that you allegedly have hit,
Sure.
can I just say this? This is hearsay, right? As we know, the league has tracked stats the last 2 years.
It has.
But back when this occurred, I put this in air quotes. There is no physical evidence to say this has happened, right? It is all hearsay, correct?
Yeah, there's no actual stats.
I rest my case.
Yeah. Also, yeah, don't bend your knee. You're covering your whole face with your knee. So I guess the knee is the one giving the opinion to you.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. People's knees coming out here,
sorry.
spitting heresy.
Well, documentary part 2 coming soon. So
Coming soon.
make
All
sure
right,
you watch it.
next.
Next will be who is going to be the most improved player in the 2018 WBL season.
I'll start. I'll say Dan. This guy over here.
Oh my.
Yeah, you're gonna have to clarify which Dan this year.
Yeah, Dan
seriously.
Sadik.
Dan Sadik.
I think Dan
Thank you.
Sadik. You know, I had high hopes for him last year. I can't believe I said he would beat Zach in the championship, though. That was a really bad take.
You jinxed me.
I probably did, but then again, you're trash. So,
Thanks.
but he's had a great spring. You had that good tournament that we had a few weeks ago, Easter, right?
Easter, yeah.
The first
Yep.
inaugural spring tournament.
Yep, that's right. So Dan's looking pretty good now. Most improved. I don't think he's going to be anything wicked flashy, but I think he'll take a bigger leap than anybody else will take in their games this season.
All right, so I won most improved last year.
Humble brag.
Yes, very humble brag.
Mhm.
So obviously, 1, I wouldn't pick myself anyway.
You can't.
But 2, I don't think it's going to be possible for someone to win most improved in 2 straight years. That would imply that they really improved even more.
That would
Or that they were really
so
bad.
bad.
Like Mike could do it, but like, ugh.
So my pick for most improved this year is Alec. My reasoning behind this is if Alec is an elite pitcher. By most people think that he's an elite pitcher. Actually, some people think he's the best pitcher in the league when we get to Cy Young. But his hitting does slack. For what he provides on the mound, he does not provide at the plate. I think Alec has something in him that I think he can break out this year. And if he breaks out at the plate, in addition to his pitching, I think that he'll carry himself to the most improved. Because if we remember, at the Roach Field in Las Vegas, Alec played wiffle ball at the plate unlike I have ever seen Alec hit in
He hit a
his
lot
life.
of home runs.
Yeah,
Take
he
him
was
to
on
dinner.
But-
fire.
Also, if we're just throwing around air quotes and quotations and asterisk marks.
2 fingers.
Yeah. Well, he hit all those home runs at where left field was like minuscule.
Yes, but I'm just talking about
Just throwing
The
that one
con-
out there.
the contact rate was something that we don't see in rock.
Oh, he was hitting piss
No matter
rockets.
what.
Mhm.
He
No matter
never-
what.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
So that's why I like Alec. If he can start hitting good this year, I see no reason why he can't take home most improved.
So before I get into mine, the only thing I'm going to say is you did mention it. Alec did win Cy Young last year. So if he's going to win Most Improved after winning a Cy Young, he's going to need to basically win MVP this year. Like that's the only way I could see him as a Most Improved is if he won MVP. That would be the only way I would even think about voting him for Most Improved. But
That's a
my
fair
opinion.
point.
That's my
I am different than that. If he breaks out the plate, I would view that more as
Yeah.
his pitching. But
Now, for me, I'm probably going to get a little bit of backlash for this. I actually think Dan Roach is going to be Most Improved. Now, he's shown some potential, whether that be on the mound or at the plate. It's been very inconsistent. He's had a couple of moments, especially in the Tennyson Classic. He hit the most clutch home run I think I've ever seen in wiffle ball history. But less about that, more about Dan Roach himself. I think this year, with more consistent playing time, if he can be here more consistently, and he's a first-year captain, I think he could definitely
Yeah, Rookie of the
show-
Year candidate.
Well, yeah.
He's the only
And-
rookie.
He's the only one.
He
I
is
like
the
his
rookie of the
chance.
year.
Point. And just to interrupt you mentioned the Tennyson Classic. So for the Tennyson Classic this year, the way we're going to do it is the top 6 in the standings at the time when the Tennyson Classic takes place will have the first licks. I
They
guess you
will.
could say,
They will
at
be the.
spot.
You know,
Excluding Dan Roach because I think he said he's getting his own team because some of his friends said they wanted to
Yeah.
play. So as of right now, I think how we're going to do is excluding Dan Roach, the top 6 points in the league will have the first chance to play the game, and if they can't play, then the next 2 will replace whoever.
yeah, which is what happened last year.
Exactly. All right, so continue.
But I definitely think Dan Roach could be, most improved if he can show more consistency. Excuse me, more consistency. I like his chances.
That's a good pick. I actually picked Marcus because I think the whole pitching at least an inning thing, if that passes, is something that could be a benefit for him in the long run.
Where's the proof? Where's the proof he's gonna get better?
Well, no, because I think Marcus can be really accurate. His pitches may not move the most, but if he is on the mound more instead of say deferring or whatever, because I feel
Playing
like
the line.
yeah, I think he likes to pitch, but I also think he loves to field. So if
Yeah,
he's
to play
out there
line,
on the
yeah.
mound more, I think he's gonna be better. And I think you said his home run numbers last year were 4.
Terrible.
There's no way that's happening again. He's hitting at least a dozen.
You say
so-
that now.
That's a take, Quake. A dozen.
At least a
That's-
dozen
That's
for
the
Marcus.
take, Quake.
That's over a
I
200% increase.
I was just gonna say that.
I kind of like that. I kind
don't
of want
like
to take
that.
his side on that one. I
I'm
think
just saying.
Marcus is due for a power surge.
He's due for a good.
However, we're talking about the guy who wanted a fielding award just so that he could win an award last year. We are talking about. This is the kid we're talking about. So just.
I'm just saying though, the fielding will be there, but the batting and pitching is something I think he can definitely have a breakout for this summer. So
Okay,
Fair point.
let's keep it going.
So, who's going to be the most valuable captain? So, who is going to be the regular season champ?
My regular season champ is Ryan. I believe you won it last year.
I did.
Correct?
I
I
did.
came in second, I am pretty sure. Or Marcus came in second.
Marcus came in second. I think you came in third.
Yes, that sounds about right.
Yep.
I'm going with... So, if we do implement this pitching rule, I'm going to have to go with Zach. Because Zach is the most...
Didn't you just say you were going to go with me?
No, he was.
Said
Oh,
you won last
It was
okay.
misleading. I was thinking the same thing.
I'm going to go...
Apologies.
If this pitching... Well, here we go. I'm putting an asterisk. If we don't do the pitching rule, I'm picking Ryan. But if the pitching rule is in, I'm pitching Zach. Just because Zach is the most consistent pitcher.
You're pinching Zach.
Pitching.
You're pitching.
picking.
Can you let me just stop?
Can you speak the English
Okay,
language?
It's
Second language.
Okay.
Jeez.
Zach is the most consistent pitcher and hitter in the league. Ryan, for as well as he hits, his pitching is just not. It's not up to the same quality as Zach's.
That's fair.
Zach throws his little below like the belt
Nonsense.
curve thing, and it's almost when it's on, which is rare. But if it's on, it's borderline unhittable. So I do like Zach if we do implement this pitching rule that the captain has to pitch every game.
No matter what, I'm picking Zach for all the same reasons.
I'm going to go with Alec. I think he could, if he's not stupid with picking this year, if he
Good luck
has,
with that.
yeah,
Alec
Talk
is
about
known
it.
for
Talk
picking-
about it. Take Quake.
Alec is known for picking idiotic teams.
yeah. But if maybe I'm thinking this might be the year where some of those idiotic picks might work out, and then the other half of the time where he's actually picking, normally, where he's picking smart, he'll win those games too. So I'm thinking, he could be a sneaky top, caliber captain this year.
All right. I'm actually gonna go Alec for the same reasons. Barring.
I thought I was gonna just be
No,
the only
no,
one.
no.
Take Quake!
No, like
Plural.
Zach to me is the favorite, but I'm picking Alec because if he, like you said, barring he doesn't make stupid picks, I think the pitching rule is going to help him as well, especially if he's on and counting his strikeouts. I think he's going to be feeling it. So that's my pick right there.
I definitely think it would favor pitchers for sure. So you
Yeah.
got to go with the 2 best pitchers.
Yeah, that's true. Before we get to the next award, I just want to point out. So last year we had a lot of different looks in the video. You'll see
Yeah.
Ryan was wearing his little snow
Winter
hat, his little in a very douchey way.
It was.
It was a very douchey way.
We regret those decisions.
Dan's glasses became sunglasses.
Yep.
Jonathan's ginormous winter coat became Vineyard Vines and Khakis. He sold out to the Saturdays Are for the Boys.
Yep.
And the bowl
Typical white
cut,
man.
the bowl cut has turned into a soccer mom haircut. So we're going new year, new look, new me for all of us, I guess.
I think so. Yeah.
Very excited to see what other looks we get debuted
Yeah.
for the season. Okay, continuing on with the awards now, Ryan.
Who do you guys have for Cy Young? Dan, why don't we start with you?
Zach, again, the pitching rule is going to help him. He's going to be on the mound consistently, and just overall, like you said, he's the most consistent pitcher. And if his filthy stuff is on, I mean, you just can't hit it. So I think he's going to be wire to wire, just consistent.
Yep, I'm also taking Zach for all the same reasons again. I mean, I am not a big believer in Alex hype. I think if you can't hit that knuckleball, I mean, you're not going anywhere in this league. I mean, it's the best knuckleball in the league, but it's also a knuckleball. It is still very susceptible to being
He doesn't know
dropped
where
right
it's
over the
going.
middle.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love his pitching. I love hitting against Alex for that reason.
I also love hitting against Alec because I do not understand the hype, but
Mhm.
I am going back to back for Alec for the Cy Young Award because there are some people in this league that literally think Alec is the best pitcher they have ever seen in
The
history,
God.
which is Ryan, which is Zach sometimes. Mike, I know Mike will vote Alec for Cy Young. He
Me.
might not now when he watches this video, just in
Last
spite of
year.
me. But Mike has an Alec bias. We all know that.
Yep, we know that.
And Mike thinks Alec is the best pitcher he's ever seen, so that's at least one vote. I just think that we could have a situation where potentially 2 or 3 votes could win you the Cy Young because you got votes coming in from all over the place, like NBA Coach of the Year. You got Doc Rivers getting votes.
Now you're just taking out pent up frustration.
Yeah, that's pent up frustrations.
I think the Cy Young Award is going to be different than some of the other awards where I think 2 or 3 votes could get you because we could have, 4 different people that receive votes.
So with
Okay.
that in mind, I'm actually going to pick you. I think this might be the year where you're not all over the place. You might actually be consistent this year. You might still have people yelling at you to not throw it, 95 miles an hour. That's probably a given still. But
it wouldn't be me on the mound if Marcus isn't complaining about my pitching speed.
Yeah, he's not the only one.
There's literally no. He's the biggest.
Well, he's the biggest one.
He's the biggest
But
I have complained.
complainer.
you do. I mean, you do have the stuff to be a top, level pitcher in the league.
You can just say it. You can say top guy.
No.
Little plug.
I won't
little
do
plug.
that.
Top guy.
I'm not
Sports.
doing that. I won't go that far.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I do think, if you actually put it all together, you
It's
can
this
be
new
it.
mindset, I'm coming in with a new
I'm
attitude.
No, I'm just taking a shot in the dark here, actually.
I don't like that, but okay.
Sorry. All right. So I think that covers everyone, right? You said it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we're good.
Okay. MVP. Who do you guys have for MVP this year?
My MVP this year is Nick Brown. My logic behind this is that we have some voter fatigue. One for Zach and Ryan because people are sick of them always being in the top for MVP.
Okay.
Wait, all right. I'm gonna need some evidence of that.
Okay, just watch. My second point is people do not realize this is the first summer where Nick Brown will 100% be focusing his attention on wiffle ball. He is not playing baseball this summer, I believe. Can
Nope.
you confirm that on
He's
the
not.
air?
Unfortunately, there's no more baseball for me to play.
Nick is done playing baseball, so
That's-
everyone knows that sometimes wiffle ball and baseball, they can mess up your swing and stuff like that.
True.
So you want to know why Nick gets off to a hot start and then cools down? It could be because he's playing baseball during the summer.
Mm.
When we start the season, he's only playing wiffle ball. So I think because Nick has a whole summer to play just wiffle ball this year, that's why I'm
No
picking
other
him.
distractions either.
Potentially, yes.
Well, I mean, I didn't have any distractions last year, unless you're,
Well,
considering.
baseball is your distraction,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Okay.
So I just think when Nick is 100% focused on wiffle ball, I think that he should be able to put up numbers that do compete with Zach and Ryan potentially. And I think because people will see that, they'll say, wow, Nick is really good this year. He's not even worthy of most improved. He's worthy of MVP because that's how good he is.
I'm crying real tears, not just because baseball, but that is so sweet.
Thank you.
It was so sweet. All right.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm up.
Yeah, go ahead.
I need to gather my thoughts here.
All right. Well, then I'll go. I'll give you that minute.
Woo!
I'll give you that minute. I'm going to take Zach. It's not a shocker here, but the fact that he didn't win it last year and that I did is probably going to piss him off a little bit, and he's going to want that MVP title back where he thinks it belongs. So I think he's going to. I would bank on him taking his game up another level to get that MVP.
So who won the MVP last year? Was it you?
Yes.
Were you
Okay.
listening?
Did I?
No, I was gathering my
not so
thoughts.
humble brag?
As you know, I was gathering my thoughts, so I was not paying attention to
Yeah,
what you said.
I think I won him.
I was just hearing noise, so I was just waiting for it to stop. In a league where I feel like every time season comes around, we expect things to be drastically different. I think this is a situation where I don't think this is going to change. I don't think things are going to change. I think Ryan's going to take the MVP again. And I know we come in all the time. We think like, you said last year, Mike was going to, hit home runs or he was going to get that home run. Yeah, sure, he got that home run, but he's still pretty much, for the most part, same old Mike. People think, Dan Say is going to come out have a big year. It's pretty much the same old Dan Say.
You voted me most improved, so that's the perfect example.
Right. But my point is the adjective.
Got caught with his hands in his
No,
pants.
listen. I think the difference is the word drastically. I think people have these drastic opinions of these big changes happening, and I don't think that's going to happen. I do think Dan's going to be better, but I don't think anybody else is going to really change their game that much more. So Dan's minor improvements that I do see happening, that will be the biggest change, which will give him the most improved. But in this case, I don't think the most improved player will change. I don't think anybody else is going to really take that throne.
Valuable player.
That's not what I meant. But yes, that's why I'm picking you.
Okay, I for the same reasons as Ryan, I picked Zach. He's going to be gunning for that MVP, and definitely going to step his game up. Definitely going to be on the pitcher's mound more. So his
Especially if the rule change comes in.
his value is just going to be going up from there. So I see it going Zach's way this year for MVP.
I will say, the one thing is his usage rate will probably go up. So that's a thing to factor in. He's used to having a 1-inning closing role. He's never been the guy to start himself. So now if he has to start himself or he has to
he does
pitch
always start me. I don't know why.
more than if he has to pitch multiple innings, that could wear down on him. Just saying. Something to keep in mind.
So it's a big vote.
But so it's not like,
I think it's the biggest vote.
Yeah.
All right.
We got one last thing. Who do you guys have winning it all in the title game? Who over who?
I have a repeat of the final from last year, which was Ryan versus Zach.
Mm-hmm.
But I have not Ryan winning again. I have Zach winning the championship again. There's going to be a four-peat for Zach.
Jesus Christ.
Basically, the Warriors, if Draymond Green didn't get suspended in Game 5 of 2016. I like Zach, especially if this new rule is passed. This pitching rule is so huge because Ryan he's just not as good of a pitcher as Zach. So it just favors Zach the most because he's a great hitter, and if he can get his pitching on, he's just flat out dominant. And
because I don't think I pitched in the championship game. In the championship series,
yes.
I didn't pitch in either game until the last inning when I tried to bail myself out and didn't do that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That was the return of Righty Ryan,
yes.
by the way, from the grave.
As much as it pains me to say it, as much as I would like the league to maybe see a new champion, I think it would be better for the league to see a new champion. I just, gun to the head, I have to go with Zach with the 14.
Yeah. All right. So, granted that we're not picking ourselves for this because that would be, we're just trying to diversify the answers here.
Well, it'd just be disrespectful.
Right.
We're a humble league. We're a humble league.
We're a humble league. We are.
We're
truly
our humble beginnings.
Yeah. Oh, also checking her shirt.
Okay. Just.
Whoa.
No one heard that. No one heard that on camera.
I heard that though. That's all that matters. Somebody needs Domino's. All right. For the championship. So, like I said, not picking myself because we gotta stay humble. I'm going with the way I see the championship going down is but I think Ryan and Zach will either meet before the championship or they both won't make it to the end. And these are the top two guys who seem to be around the championship talks every year.
Just to clarify, even if we meet before the championship game, we can still.
I know, with the double elimination rules. I'm saying in the very end.
Just want to clarify that.
In the great scheme
Would hate to confuse the viewers.
Right. In the great scheme of things, I think only one of them makes it to the championship. And I think as last year, Jonathan bragged about being the greatest GM in the league, the best picker in the league. I think finally his year will come where he makes the championship.
I made the
He's
championship
done that
before.
2 years ago.
Again, he makes the championship again.
We'll cut that.
And he wins.
Yes.
Over.
Zach.
All right, Jonathan.
I respect
You're
it.
To
picking
end the
Jonathan over
dynasty.
Zach? Okay, that's a
Okay.
fucking take quick.
All right.
That's a one dynasty ends. Let me tell you, another one begins.
Dude, the Munchkins are taking over. We said this last year, but this is our year.
Marcus is triggered.
Cap's year. Marcus triggered. Learn it, love it, play it.
Go ahead, Dan.
My pick isn't really that sexy, but I do have Zach and Nick in the finals. I think Nick is due for a championship appearance, and I think it's sort of one of those playoffs that he could get really hot for. What?
I did win a championship one.
You did.
I did. I beat Zach
You
in
won the second year.
2014.
Okay.
Remember?
I won.
Again.
Do you remember the year when we played? We played the 2014 championship.
In
Right before the
Oh, it was
2015
that
season.
one. That,
Yeah,
okay.
He won that.
Okay, so that one doesn't.
You can put an asterisk on that.
That's-
There's
asterisk.
definitely an
We
asterisk.
need.
But I'll take
I'm
it.
talking about in the same summer. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
all right. Anyways, but that was a while ago, and
4 years ago, man.
I think
3.
you're due to have a nice hot playoff run.
New
So-
mindset.
But I also see Zach getting back to the championship. That's just
Asshole.
sort of like his. That's like his spot. He's always there. So, but I do see him taking you down, and just having another championship year. I'm sorry.
It's 4P. God damn.
I'm sorry.
I am not picking a 4-peat. I'm actually, my MVP pick was you, I
Mhm.
believe. So I'm thinking you're going to have a year. You're going to make your run this year. You're going to bounce back to resurgence year. You're going to get it to the finals. You're going to play me. It's going to be, an in-house fight for the championship. You're going to send me home in the finals.
Oh, that's wow.
You're going to send me packing in the finals, and I'm going to lose in a championship round for the 3rd straight year.
Little conquers big.
2 straight in wiffle ball and 1 football championship game loss sandwiched in between. It's going to suck, but I can feel it coming from a mile away.
Dare I say you are the early 90s Buffalo Bills? Dare I say that?
You're not wrong. That's what I'm telling you.
We're going
That's
for 4.
what
We just gotta
that
get
is
4.
what I'm quantifying myself as.
I got some big shoes to fill this year, and I'm
Yeah.
ready. I'm ready to.
I
get,
do.
I'm ready to
think
get
with Bills
going.
Mafia,
Yes.
more of the present day, but with 1990s results. It's unfortunate, but that's how we see it playing.
All right.
So I
We
think
got all
that
the awards,
wraps it
right?
up. But one final thing we want to throw in here. So we actually have betting odds. We have
What's up,
lines
Vegas? What's up, Vegas?
for this year?
Gambling is illegal in the United States. Disclosure outside of Las Vegas.
He's not wrong. So the opening day lines are as follows. Zach is a 3-1 favorite to win his 4th straight championship. Ryan is 4-1. Nick comes in at 7-1. Marcus 13-1, followed by Alec at 14-1. Jonathan at 15-1. Then we're getting in the iffy territory here now. Dan Sada coming in at 27-1. Excuse me. Dan Roach
Shitty.
45-1 as an expansion member, expansion captain, and Lil Mike is 1,000 to 1 odds. I don't think I said that right. 1,001 to 1 odds. So
Yes.
I would bet that probably in a heartbeat, but that would be $1 lost automatically. So that's.
Well, I
that's
mean,
how you have
you
to
bet
see that.
$1 on that,
Or
and it
potentially
happens.
$1,000 won.
Yeah,
I mean,
could
That's
be.
nuts.
Could be. So, my final question to you guys is, having been read these odds, who is the Vegas? Who would you be putting your money on? I know we've just we've just made our picks,
Yes.
but taking into account these odds, who would you guys bet on?
Can I take a look?
Yes.
So, looking at this, I really like the Alec odds 14-1.
I agree.
As I said earlier, he
Yep.
won Cy Young last year. If we do implement this new pitching rule,
It favors him a
yes,
little
it
bit.
certainly does favor him. 14-1 odds. I mean, a $10 bet, you're looking at netting $130. I mean, that is really good. That is some really good money you can get there. Obviously, we can't bet. That would be collusion,
Yeah.
aka Pete Rose. We could
We-
just throw game. I could bet on Mike, and then everyone could just lose to
Yeah.
Mike, and we would all get rich. So obviously, we can't
Yeah.
bet. But if I was a degenerate gambler, like I know you guys are out there, I would really take a look at Alec 14-1 odds, as well as Nick 7-1. Also not that bad.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say I like the 7-1 odds for me. I mean, people are already looking at me to win the championship. I really wasn't expecting all this, this grace. I was expecting a lot more heat coming my way, but the one odd I would stay away. What?
Keep going.
The one odd I would stay away from is Marcus. I think the 13-1 odd for Marcus is ridiculous.
I agree.
I
Way too high.
stay away from that.
He was borderline.
Wait, so who's the 13-1?
Marcus.
So who's 14-1?
Alec.
Alec.
You said
You'd win 100 if you bet 10.
You win 100.
You only net 100.
Yeah.
Net income, net profit.
some people
Business
where
minds.
they're
Business
winning
minds here.
Yes.
differently.
Yeah, I
That's
understand.
the way that I do it.
Mhm.
Just want to clarify.
Right. So, like I was saying, stay away from the Marcus line. I mean, that would lose. You're losing money. He's not winning the freaking title. Here you go.
Jesus.
Hands.
Nice hands,
like to
Dan.
read about.
Well, you weren't even, this was a no-look
Dan
pass.
Stock going.
There's no look pass, yo. So yeah, I
Ready for
mean,
that,
I have Zach. Like, my pick to win it all obviously is Zach. But in terms of these odds, I mean, mine are enticing, but I'm not going to pick myself because I mean, let's be honest.
You're not
but
picking any of these, but if you had to pick one, hypothetically,
Yeah,
who would you pick?
I do like the Jonathan. I like the Jonathan odds, 15-1. Jonathan has a championship pedigree, so I
Wow. He has a championship, making it to the championship game pedigree.
well, that's